Welcome back to Here's Next Door. Thank you all for joining us today. We are back in Greenville, South Carolina at the Hyatt Regency. We are here for the Fierro Symposium of PPEs. Let's go take a look. So Fierro is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to educating you about you and your firehouse, whether that be building stations like we did last time, or taking care of you with their PPE conference or symposium. Let me go ahead and register real quick and get my equipment. Hello, how are you this morning?
Welcome.
Thank you.
Here's your big badge.
All right.
Hey,
All right, I'm gonna put this on real quick. Looks like you're giving us a swag bag.
Here, this is your swag bag for the week.
All right, thank you very much. I'm gonna take a look at this. All right, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So it looks like they have a ton of information on decontamination, health and safety, and things like that. They're talking about gear, how to make sure your gear is nice and clean, how to inspect the gear. It's also talking about all the new innovative gear that's coming out.
In 1989, right after I came out of fire school, found out that all of us were exposed to PCBs and all kinds of other wonderful chemicals in our training academy. How many of y'all train in waste oil, unknown stuff that just burned really pretty, all kinds of funky colors, and you're like, ooh, okay. Well, guess what that stuff is loaded with? Cancer-causing agents. Fast forward, we started learning about the latencies of what these chemicals can do to the body, started digging into what do we do with this information? And then we realized, wait a minute, science doesn't know yet what to do because laboratories aren't equipped to study that yet.
So I'm going to take just a minute to walk away from this session. I want to talk to you guys specifically about why we are here. You know, one of the things that, I struggled with over the years is having my partners, having my friends come up with cancers. Some have survived, many have not. So this is something that we all have to struggle with is, the different things that contaminate us that we didn't even know about. The best thing that I found with her speaking was, we learned early on that cancer was an issue, but technology and testing, that had to catch up to us. So now that, Fierro has these kind of conferences or symposiums for us to talk to each other, learn about their technology and learn about the equipment to protect us is really going to make a big difference on how many lives are saved, not just in fires, but from cancer, from diseases, from all those different kind of things. It is so important to have these kind of conferences, and I want to thank Fierro for inviting us down. This is going to be an exciting week. I know it just started, but I want to bring you guys along with, and we're going to learn a ton of information.
And part of my responsibilities is PPE, so I'm here to learn about PPE in general and the decon process. I'm their fire protective equipment technician, so I'm in charge of all of our PPE needs. Took this class to change the mindset of our department members on decon.
I am in charge of training in EMS, and I'm looking to integrate our decon into my division.
We still have the melted helmets and dirty coats, so we gotta change that.
I'm here to learn more from the speakers and industry thought leaders at Fierro to bring back the information to our product team to help creating products for all of you guys.
So as you guys just saw, there are many people from different departments, and that most of them are representatives of their departments that take care of their health and safety and their PPE. The reason we come here is because we want to learn these lessons from those other departments and what they're doing and how to improve the whole system. So one of the things I encourage you guys to do is come to this conference for Fierro. It's going to protect you, it's going to protect your family, it's going to protect your home. So make sure you go to their website at fierroonline.org and start registering for the next symposium. So I'm across the lobby right now. We're going to be going into the other session, and this one's all about the PPE inspection, care, and maintenance. It's important to understand cancer, but it's also important to understand how to prevent cancer, and that's what this is all about.
What are they exposed to? Are they hung on racks in the bag? Are they exposed to diesel exhaust because they're in the bag? Is it going through the same cleaning processes? If we look at the requirements for cleaning, we look at how often the gear has been laundered over a 10-year period. So when we look at 10 years, it wasn't just, hey, 10 years, it wasn't the manufacturer saying, oh, we can sell a lot more gear if we go to every 10 years to get rid of it. No, it was based on experiences. It was based on looking at the gear.
Bruce, he is the key speaker of today's symposium on the PPE maintenance and care, correct?
One of the three.
One of the three, okay. Now, we're talking very specifically about the NFPA regulations of 1851. Why is that important for us to understand as firefighters or healthcare providers?
Well, that's the standard for which firefighting protective clothing is built. When you look at the standard for how gear is built, and that's NFPA 1971, 1851 is how we take care of it, how we select it, how we take care of it, how we clean it.
It's very specific materials. It's not, you know, your standard blue jean or t-shirt material. It's very specific material.
You're looking at PBI, you're looking at various Nomex blends, you're looking at carbon fibers. NFPA has a basic standard that no matter what fibers you're using, what thermal barriers you're using, what moisture barrier you're using, has to meet a minimum set of specifications in order to protect the firefighter.
So no matter if I'm working in California or I'm working in Philadelphia, we have a very basic set of standards on how to protect us.
And the individual organization may enhance that. If you've got turnout gear, what you want to be doing is you're doing your inspections, but you want to be going out to an ISP that is certified, that they've proven their capability to get it clean. They have been audited. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks
We're
for
going to
taking the
continue to
time.
listen, and I'll let you get back to work.
I've been profiling folks for 18 years officially in this. And one of the questions has always been, what were your early signs and what were you diagnosed with early? But as we get these doctors engaged that are super smart, that are understanding what's happening and changing in our bodies, they're also looking at how do we pair that with modern medicine you're not going to see through blood work. One of the pieces on blood work that's really important is keeping 3 years of trending. How many of you, when you go to get a physical, you keep a copy of your physical and make sure you have access to that? That's something that should be an automatic. The more natural that you can go in what you control, the healthier you're going to be. If you're pulling stuff on off your body and that wipe is discolored, then you've had a significant enough exposure that would be worth taking a look at, okay, well, if this part of my body is already showing me that I've got this amount of contaminants, what about the rest of me?
So we're just about halfway done with the first session, and we're meeting up with Justin, right?
Yep.
Okay, what do you do?
So I work for Hyman Fire Equipment, so I sell everything from the boots that they wear to the trucks that they drive.
All right, well, thank you for joining us here at Fiero. What brought you to the conference?
So with working with a lot of fire departments and stuff, trying to be an advocate for the fire departments and what the direction of the fire service is going. You know, technology with gear, like I'm in the decon class now. Cancer was always kind of it's kind of a thing that we're gonna get. Now it's what can we do to help lessen the chance of getting cancers and stuff in the fire service. So even though I'm your salesman, I'm gonna get you in the gear that you need, right?
Right.
I'm also trying to be that guy who comes in and helps to educate and helps to...
So this first session was all about cancer prevention. The Firefighter Cancer Foundation that kind of spoke about this. What were some of the things that you took away from this session?
You know, it opened my eyes to a lot of the things that, you know, we talk about gross decon on scene, and it's usually the gear. You know, it's not the cleaning the hose right away or the nozzles or inside the actual compartments that the gear is sitting in. Things like that. Just the things that you don't think about while you're going through it. You're like, oh yeah, we got to do decon.
Right.
Let's
Usually
scrub your gear
load it all
off.
back in, go back to the station, and we do it all back there.
100%.
You know.
Right. So thinking of that, of decon is so much more than just the things that you're wearing.
It's very good to get this kind of information, to have these kind of conferences, because there's so much information out there that we just don't know until you actually take a class, until you actually, you know, spend the time to learn what's going on. So
100%. 100%.
we appreciate you coming down. Thank you for coming to the conference, and we'll see you throughout the week.
Sounds good.
All right, nice to meet you.
You too.
The requirements and the standards of front load, washer extractor. It doesn't, it's not exclusive to that. There are other technologies out there. So we gotta have compliant chemicals, detergents, disinfectants.
So the next thing we want to do is we want to check, is this thing even clean? We don't want to inspect dirty gear.
So what's going on right now is we're having a class on how to inspect the gear. We want to do this once a year, but it's very important to figure out, you know, is it good gear? Is it fit? Is it clean? Is it fit for duty? So these guys are talking through it. They're having a class to actually, you know, get hands-on and touch the gear so we know what to do.
Zippers, snaps, you go ahead and you work those. You work the zipper.
So a real quick hero's hack that we're learning here at the symposium is when you're checking your reflectant on your inspection, you can use your cell phone by turning on the flash of your cell phone and taking a picture of it, and then that will flash back at you rather than doing that 40 feet back, turn the lights off, and shine a flashlight on it. It's really quick, really easy. I didn't even realize it. Pretty cool to know. All right, so we're on a quick break in between sessions, and I ran into one of the guys you might recognize from our last video, Dan. You were on the bus trip with me last time, right?
Sure was.
All right, thanks for coming back. What
Yes,
brought
sir.
you back to Fiero for the second one here?
Well, I haven't made the PPE symposium for a couple of years, so I'm back here now learning a little bit about the PFAS and all the cancer stuff that's going on right now. So
Okay.
take it back to the company and see what else we can do.
I got a couple questions. Actually, I'm just going to give you one question so we can get this out of the way. So one of the things that struggle is finance, right?
Yep.
So a lot of volunteer fire companies or even small paid fire companies, you know, try to follow the NFPA regulations, but they can't do it to the T because of the finance of doing that. They don't have maybe 2 sets of gear or anything like that. So what is something that you could recommend to these guys to get as close to following the NFPA regulations of this gear inspection?
Well, a couple of things is one, attend one of these conferences so you can learn how to inspect the gear. Also, you know, cost effective is go ahead and start doing your own in-house. And if you see something that needs to be fixed, go ahead and send it out. And also don't forget, you still got grants out there to apply for too, to get decon washers and dryers and all that too.
Yeah, so there's many different resources out there that you can tap into.
Yep.
So one of the benefits of coming to this place is if you are one of those companies that can't afford it, you can run into other guys and say, hey, we've gotten a grant here, or we've gone this.
Absolutely.
And you can start networking with other people.
Yep,
So,
absolutely.
All right,
Yeah.
Dan, thank you very
All right.
much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
We'll see you all week.
All right.
So during this session right now, we're actually doing some hands-on experiencing with the hydro testing and the particulate testing. By putting the hood over the top of that, shining a light in it, looking to see where that light comes out. It tells us how dirty our hoods are, whether it needs to be replaced, whether it needs to be cleaned, and whatnot. Over here, they're testing each part of the inner liners to make sure that they stay waterproof. So they're going to take a certain section, they're going to put a little bit of water into it, which is hydro testing, and they're going to see if it leaks. If it leaks, does it need to be repaired or does it need to be replaced? So we just finished up today's sessions, and I wanted to talk to a couple of the members that came to these. And these are both from Asheville Fire Department. You went to which session?
I went to this one, the decon matrix and the turnout gear.
Okay. What did you learn in this one that you didn't know? Or why did you go to that one?
So I went to this one to get the data, the reasons, the mechanics to change hearts and minds about decontaminating ourselves after these fires. Cancer is prevalent in our department. It seems to be a big issue amongst our members, trying to find reasons to get them to change the way that we do things. It's the on-scene decontamination. We need to do more.
Yeah, and Tom, you went to the other session.
I went to the gear inspection session.
Okay.
Hopefully it's going to save us a lot more on this cancer prevention by getting better inspections on it, getting better cleanliness into it as well, because they went into the deconning of it and actually breaking down the gear itself.
So for both of you, coming to this is basically a pre-symposium, why was it important for you to come today versus just coming to the rest of it?
For me, it was actually doing the gear inspection. As it being a part of my job, hopefully it's going to help make us a better department and have better gear and better inspection procedures.
The reason I came was the Decon Matrix class this morning.
Okay, so that's not offered through the rest of the week. That's only for the pre.
Yes, I don't know why it's a pre-seminar thing. I mean, I feel like it's day one, and I think without this, you'll have to catch up in the coming days.
Right.
Whereas coming through this, you know what's coming. So you're already, halfway to first base, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. Was this your first time at a Fiero conference?
Yes.
Okay. What are you thinking so far?
I think it's great.
Awesome.
I've enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It's a very good conference.
All right.
Very informative.
Well, we appreciate you coming. Tom, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And Forrest,
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for talking to us. So as we're finishing up day one, I want to talk to you guys just a little bit more and stress to you how important it is to come to these pre-symposiums. There is going to be a lot of information that's going to come for the rest of the week, and you guys are going to see that. But, the information that these guys are telling me and the information that I sat in on, you can't get by just doing a half hour or 45-minute session. We were here from 8:15 to 4 o'clock. We had such hands-on experiences. We had able to answer questions, that we may not have gotten in a large group. But these are the kind of things that you guys have to participate in and really make an effort to come to these pre-symposiums. Fiero did a fantastic job, hit some very major topics in regards to firefighter safety, cancer prevention, and maintenance of our gear. But that's not all. We have 3 more days of education, and we have exhibitors coming in. We have at least 200, almost 300 people that are going to be coming to this symposium that Fiero is putting on, and it has so much information that you guys should be part of. Good morning and welcome to day one of the 2023 Fiero Symposium on PPEs. Right now we are in the exhibit hall. The vendors are getting set up for later this afternoon. But first, we're going to head over to the next rooms here where they're going to have a lot of the speakers. They're going to talk about many of the PPE recommendations, many of the new products. Dude, now that I'm in this room, there's over 200 people here getting ready to listen to these speakers. They are top-notch speakers, and they're going to have so much information over this day. I can't wait to get started.
Welcome everyone. We are so delighted to be in Greenville and to have you here to participate in our PPE Symposium.
Why do we need change now? Well, I have to have a way of measuring or defining that in some way. How has the fire ground, or for that matter, the fire service, changed over the years? So most fire response is a multitude of different insults that a firefighter can encounter. What's the big problem right here? Anyone see a big problem? Putting on protective clothing, there is always this trade-off for what you can do in terms of function, your mobility, whether you can see, hear, so on and so forth. This is all stuff that gear affects your tactics, how you control the scene. That can be. And those tactics can help provide protection just as much as the PPE itself.
We asked you guys if you had issues with your gear, and over 100 of you said, yes, I've had issues with my gear. What we're gonna talk about today is a little bit more focused on women in the fire service and issues that they face with their gear. And yet, in the fire service, women range from about 5 to 11%. And the range is going from career to volunteer. So women tend to represent a little bit higher proportion of the volunteer fire service. In fact, did you guys know that women are 3 times more likely than men to volunteer in their communities as a volunteer firefighter than men are? Interesting. And when we talk about safety and fit, and when you do both surveys as well as qualitative, like interviews with women in the fire service, as long ago as 1993, women were saying, hey, my gear's really an issue. I don't have gear that fits me. I am worried about exposures, etc.
We started doing some qualitative work. We got funding from NIH to do qualitative work with women on health in general. And then based on what they were bringing up, which were things like PPE and that being a safety risk, we did some quantitative. So surveyed women. We had about 2,000 women, and one study, we got some FEMA funding and did 3,000 and added volunteers in there. But we know that women who are in the fire service are twice as likely as general population to have a miscarriage. Well, there's a woman who was a volunteer firefighter 5'7". And she goes, actually, I completely believe that. And she said, you know, I've never had my own set of gear. We just grab whatever gear's there, and all of it's huge. She's like, so the exposures that I have, it's extremely high. What we're gonna do is put you in gear that does not fit you and see how well that goes. All right. These are small. They're small, perfect. Yeah. I mean, who needs it to fit all the way?
This is a good lift. I think that's any better for them. How are they doing, guys?
Oh my God.
The guy with no bunker pants is doing really good. If you guys can't see, his pants are like probably 5 inches too long for him. And so they're like all bunched up around his ankles.
I wanted to speak to Sarah, who gave the last lecture on women's gear in the fire service. It was very informational for me. It's something that I really never really thought about, but I have, many of my partners, I'm on the EMS side mostly, but I also do fire, that have trouble with gear. And how, first of all, did you get into even studying this?
By accident.
By accident, okay.
No, it was, we started looking at the health of women in the fire service, and one of the issues that came out really early on was ill-fitting gear and the risk that they saw. Originally, it was the safety risk and, increased risk for injury and those types of things, but the more we've dug into it, the more it's not just safety, it's how valued the organization, how valued they feel by the organization, issues around, inclusion, so those types of things. So it is absolutely a safety issue, but it's so much more than that.
Right. Well, we appreciate you coming to the symposium. The other question I have is, coming to symposiums like this, what kind of results are you seeing from the audience? Are you seeing? So amazing.
So it's, for a lot of people, I think it brings up, I think the benefit is it brings up things that you wouldn't have thought about otherwise. And so there's some, I always, when I go to conferences, there's, a topic or two that I'm like, oh, I really need to learn about that. And it's a great opportunity to get the Reader's Digest version and to know what the next questions are. But I also think the benefit is there are things always raised that I'm like, I never thought of that before.
Well, I appreciate it. This was a fantastic topic. I'm glad you're here. And hopefully we'll see you again on more.
Yeah, awesome.
Basically, you can see for bare hand, let's assume it's 100. And then for all the different types of glove, the cotton working glove, the leather working glove, or your firefighters turnout gloves, for the grip strength, of course, it reduces because you need extra effort to resist the stiffness of your glove. Another issue would be female and male hands. They're totally different, right? So currently we don't have a lot of female firefighters data. When you're holding things, your hand dimension changes. We scan your hand, and then we can pinpoint any point on your hand, and then do the measurement of the distance.
So as I was walking around, I just noticed you were getting your hand 3D scanned.
That's right.
That was pretty cool to watch. Why did you feel like that was a good thing to do?
Well, I just walked by too and saw them 3D scanning somebody else. Thought it looked cool. They did a presentation yesterday about glove fits and how there's really no ideal way to fit everybody. Nothing's ever like perfect. Having something that was, in the future that could be specifically designed for each hand, that's pretty exciting.
Because of the reverence and respect we had for Bruce Teal, we do an award at every one of our symposiums to remember Bruce and honor him and what he stood for. I am honored to present the Bruce Teal Award to Bruce Porter. The award is a replica of a leather bucket from the Bucket Brigade. Well, one person with one bucket couldn't do much, and it's symbolic of community involvement. It's what we can do when we work together.
So what I want to do right now is take a little bit of time to go talk to some of the diamond sponsors of the Fierro Symposium and see what they have to say. So I'm at the Milliken booth and I'm meeting up with
Brian Hargis.
Nice to meet you, Brian.
Nice
Thanks
to
for
meet you.
talking to us.
Yeah, sure.
So we come out of Philadelphia. I've never heard of Milliken. Can you first of all tell us where you're based out of?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what you guys do?
Absolutely. Milliken is a privately held company. We've been around since 1865. We're out of Spartanburg, South Carolina. That's where our global headquarters is. We reside today just right right up the road.
Okay, okay. And what kind of products do you have? What do you offer?
It's a great question. So we work here. We're here today representing the Milliken Fire Service Group, and we have protected fabrics that are certified to NFPA 1971, 1951, 1975, 77, and 99. So we have a broad range of fabrics that fit a lot of different, all of the different standards and different finishes and weights and different fabrics do different things.
Just to explain those standards to us just a little bit. One is hazmat, one is structural firefighting gear.
1971 is structural, 1977 is the wildland, 1975 is the station wear market.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
It looks like you also have some EMS pants or shirts or job shirts?
Now, and so keep in mind what we do at Milliken, we make the fabric, we don't make the garment.
Oh,
so
okay.
we're actually making the piece of the component that actually provides the protection.
Gotcha.
So we make the fabric, sell it to the direct customer, the garment manufacturer. They cut and sew and make the finished goods, and it ends up on you at your firehouse.
That's pretty interesting. So that's something I never really thought about. I figured just to one company and they do it all.
Right. A lot of people get that perception, but we focus on innovation. We focus on protection and how to make the firefighter make their job easier, make them cooler, make them be better at what they do. So we're trying to protect those who protect us.
Okay. Now Fiero is global. They go all over the world, especially if you're getting on YouTube like we are right now.
Yeah.
Do you service just this area? Do you service all over the world? How do you?
Our primary focus right now is North America, but we do have our sights and targets set on the international market as well.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for being here.
Oh, it's
we really
my pleasure.
appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks, appreciate it.
All right. So I'm here with one of the speakers that just finished up, and you were talking about testing hoods and particulate with that. And one of the questions that I had during your conversation is you mentioned a couple of times that you go above and beyond the NFPA standards of testing, and you do a couple of different things. Why is that, and what do you actually do?
The reason is because there's only so much they can learn with whatever standards are in place currently. But if you go beyond that and start doing more experimenting with the different types of evaluations, different types of exposure methods, there's more that you can learn just from seeing what's out there.
Okay, okay. Well, I appreciate all the work that you're doing. You know, it's definitely going to help save lives in the long run. And thank you for coming to Fiero.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We appreciate you. So I'm talking to one of the participants that have been in most of the lectures today.
Yes.
So first of all, can you introduce yourself to us?
Absolutely. I'm Brianna Singer. I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, Cincinnati Fire Department. I've been with them for about 4 years now. This is my first time at the Fiero conference.
Okay.
I have learned so much.
Yeah?
More than I probably anticipated even taking away so far. But
Okay.
it's been a great
What's
experience.
one thing that you would take away from already? You know, we're only 3/4 of the way through the
I
first
know.
day, and you got so much information at you. What's one thing that you can bring back to your station?
Obviously, as a female firefighter, the segment earlier about the women with the PPE and the nuances of gear fitting with a female firefighter versus a male firefighter, that is something that I hope to take back. It's something that I think our department actually does a pretty good job with, but we can always do better. One of the biggest things recently that we've been doing is working on getting the cadet-sized gloves for everyone in the department, and it's actually been interesting to see how many men actually have wanted to use those cadet-sized gloves as well. So although it does apply to women, and that's kind of what drove that, it's interesting to see that it applies across the board, like, hey, we can make this better for everyone, which has been neat to see. I'm also involved with our safety committee, so that's something that the majority of what we're learning is taking that back to the safety committee and what we can do better for our members as a whole.
Dude, awesome. Thank you for attending. You know, this is definitely information overloaded sometimes.
I have so many pages of notes.
And you get to go back and review those and see what you got.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
we appreciate you. Thank you for your service.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
This gross decon spray down space
It's really not much different from what you would see in a commercial kitchen for washing off pots. Start early to develop this analysis of the protocol, your protocol for what you're going to do in the building.
You will please join me in congratulating the instructor.
I'm speaking with another Diamond sponsorship of Fiera Conference here, or the symposium, and you are
Jennifer Wise.
Okay, and what's your company?
WL Gore and Associates.
Okay, and how long have you been sponsoring Fiera for these kind of symposiums?
Since the day it started.
The day it started, so that's almost 20 years ago, right?
Yes, yes.
Thank you very much for doing that. How's this year going for you?
Awesome. We got a great turnout here and some really important topics for the fire service.
Awesome. What did you bring to the booth this time?
All kinds of stuff. So Gore's about head-to-toe protection. So we make the moisture barrier that's in a lot of different parts of the PPE. So we have over here, we're going to start off with like the hazmat part of the industry, where we make laminates that go into different hazmat or WMD response, certified to NFPA 1994 and 1992.
Okay.
We also make on the inside of different types of turnout gear. We make the moisture barrier. It's sandwiched in between the outer shell and the thermal liner. Our most popular moisture barrier is our Crosstech Black moisture barrier. It offers the highest level of breathability across a broad range of conditions. Again, it's sandwiched in between, so it's not the part that everybody sees. It's not the sexy outer shell. It's not the thermal liner.
But it's the important part.
It's the
part
important part.
Because, you know, a lot of fires, we're getting doused with a whole bunch of different stuff, a bunch of water, whatever.
Heat stress, they talked about heat stress being an issue, so that a lot of your heat stress and being able to manage that has to do with your moisture barrier's breathability, and that's what we bring.
Right, right. So then you supply that material to other companies to actually make the gear?
Yes.
Or do you make your own gear?
We don't make our own gear. We sell rolls of material about yay long.
Okay.
This is about my height. To our garment manufacturers, and then they cut, sew that, and then we supply them with seam tape and seam sealing equipment, things like that.
Okay. Well, thank you for doing that. We really appreciate you being here. So, and we'll look for you again next year then too.
Awesome.
Nice
Thank
to meet
you. You too.
All right. Take care. So now I'm in with the MSA Globe booth, and I'm going to speak to Serena. She's going to kind of talk us through what your company is, what you do, and what you brought to the show today.
So I'm from MSA Globe, and MSA produces firefighter safety equipment, from breathing apparatus to personal protective equipment.
Okay.
The Globe portion of MSA does the protective clothing, so coats, pants, and boots.
Okay.
And so we are showcasing a lot of our products that we have on the table today. So they also produce fire helmets. We have boots that we've been producing since 2008. Actually 2006 boots on the market. So we were one of the first leather fire boots on the market, one of the most popular.
Yeah, I have a pair of these boots, so I absolutely love them.
Right.
I also have this helmet too.
All right,
we
great.
use the MSA G1 packs at times too. So.
All right, excellent.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great booth to have here. How long have you been with the Fiero conference? Do you remember?
So I actually haven't. I've been with Globe for 30 years, and as far as I know, we've been doing the Fiero conference as a sponsor for at least 20 that I know of. Might be longer than that.
Now, how's this turn out for you this time? Is it a lot of people?
Actually, there's been a really lot of people. They said that they've had one of the highest turnouts this year,
That's
which
awesome.
is great. Over 350 people, I heard today.
Right.
The other product, actually, I'd like to showcase is our athletic gear.
Athletic gear, okay.
So this is actually one of the most innovative products that's been on the fire service. We came out with this in 2017, commercially available.
Okay.
And it actually incorporates a stretch outer shell.
Wow.
So it's the most innovative garment for lightweight flexibility, breathability.
Right.
You know,
So is this structural firefighting gear?
It is structural firefighting gear, and we really wanted to focus on helping to reduce cardiovascular events. And so it's very lightweight. It has the titanium Nomex Nano inner liner and the Cross-Tech moisture barrier. So it really took kind of the high level of building this garment. And we don't have to overbuild it now, which you have to do in traditionally woven garments. The fabric actually stretches in place. So it's,
dude, that's awesome. I'm definitely going to give that a shot. Talk to my boss. So
excellent.
Thank you for coming to the show.
Welcome.
We really appreciate you.
Thank you for
and
stopping
thank you for
by.
taking the time to talk to us.
Thank you.
So we're on another little break, and I got to stop to talk to one of the firefighters. Tell me where you're from again?
Loudoun County, Virginia.
Okay, and what's your name?
Scott Stonesizer.
Okay, and you've been to the Fiero conferences in the past, right?
Yeah, the last one I attended was in Raleigh.
Okay, so this one, what's been your favorite session that you've been to so far?
There's been several actually, but probably the one this morning with about PFAS, or the one just a little bit ago about PFAS, was probably the most informational topic that's going on right now. So
yeah,
it was very, very intriguing to learn that it's actually a global issue and not just in firefighting equipment.
Yeah, I mean, one of the big things that we're worried about right now is all the different contaminations and stuff like that. And you know, is it stuff that we've been doing? Is it stuff that we bring there? Is it what we're breathing? You know, and getting that information. I was sitting in the class too, and it's almost like information overload. Right. So trying to figure that out was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, how do you feel this year's going compared to the year you went in Raleigh?
Very well, actually. The topics are getting better.
Okay. So. Would you recommend it to other people?
Oh, yes, indeed.
Yeah? Why is that?
Just the information that's coming out about everything. I mean, it's a great tool for, you know, departments going through different aspects, gloves, boots, turnout gear.
Too much for one department.
It is overwhelming, but
yeah. Well,
you learn a lot.
Yeah. Well, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll see you again next year.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
He says, "Why do you use your gloves?" It's a valid question. and my smart response was because I like to pick my nose. And I want my fingers to still work. What my children would say, you know. But why do we use our gloves? And it played into this idea. I generally wear an all-leather glove. So I say all that to say this. When you're shopping and looking and understanding about the next glove, you're like, man, this thing moves good. This is super light. Well, be a little bit crass about it. Why is it light? Did you put cheap stuff in it? And is it gonna last? And why is it $140?
So now I'm here at the safety components booth, and you know, as I'm walking around, I didn't notice any fire gear here. So I want to talk to Richard and Greg about what you guys do.
Go ahead. All right, so we're based out of here in Greenville, South Carolina. We're a materials manufacturer, so we create the material that the bunker gear is made out of.
Okay.
So we just create big rolls of material and we sell it to all of the manufacturers.
Okay. What kind of materials do you offer?
So PBI Max LP, Armor AP as our outer shells. And then we also do the thermal liners also, and the Glide Eyes line of thermal liners.
So you guys are pretty much the first step in someone wanting to build fire gear, is that correct?
That is correct, yes. So we make the rolls, we ship the rolls to the gear manufacturers. All gear manufacturers can buy our product, and they sew and cut it, put it together.
Okay. How do you make the rolls? So you said you make these rolls. Do you get thread and just kind of put it all together?
We have fiber, they blend it together, they make yarns, we take the yarns, weave it into the material, and then we ship that out.
Dude,
and it's all done right here in Greenville, South Carolina.
Okay, so is this we've had a lot of lectures about, inner lining, outer lining, vapor barriers, all that kind of stuff. Do you cover the whole gamut of those?
We specialize in outer shells, thermal liners, and we also do tech rescue and wildland gear.
Awesome, awesome. And you guys are one of the diamond featured people here.
Of course,
for
yes.
the thing. So we appreciate that. How many years have you been coming to Fiero?
I think it's been 6 years or so.
Wow, awesome. Well, thank you for doing that. We really appreciate you.
All right.
And we're definitely going to look more into your company and see what's going on.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
So we're at the Firedex booth, and I want to talk to Erica and David about what Firedex is. First of all, can you tell us, what is Firedex?
Firedex is actually a family-owned company. We're a PPE provider from head to toe for firefighters.
Okay. Do you do EMS gear, or is it all just fire gear?
Yeah, we offer EMS gear. We offer wildland, single-layer gear. Do you want to touch base on that?
We do everything from the boots, the gloves, the helmets, the hoods. We do EMS, we do wildland. We're located in Medina, Ohio, about 45 minutes south of Cleveland.
Okay.
We also have manufacturing facilities in Pelham, Georgia. So we're a global manufacturer of the PPE.
Awesome.
And, as Erica mentioned, we're still a family-owned, very proud company.
Do you normally just service North America? Are you worldwide? No.
We are worldwide. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're an international, global PPE provider.
Okay. Is there anything specific that you guys do that maybe some of the other manufacturers don't?
We do. So we have we have some different technologies that we can provide in the fiber space. Some products that we provide that called TechGen 71 and TechGen 51 are both products that make Firedex shine, we believe.
Okay.
And very integral to our business.
Okay. What would be the highlight of your product line? What do you guys like the best?
So our main message is safety for the firefighters, lightweight, breathable, flexible. Anything that we can do to help focus on firefighter safety is what we do. That's what we focus on. If it doesn't have anything to do with that, we're not interested in.
Perfect. So is this your first time with Fiero coming to the symposium?
This is not. This is probably our 6th year, maybe, or I think we've been coming to Fiero ever since it started. So
Awesome, awesome.
It's been a good run for us.
Well, we appreciate you. This is something that we, as firefighter and paramedics, we're always looking to protect ourselves. So without you guys, we wouldn't, be able to do our job. So we appreciate you coming to the show, and good luck, and hopefully everything.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.
That's good for you.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you. So I made my way over to the PBI booth, but I'm wondering, what are you guys? What do you guys do?
So we make PBI. We are the only manufacturer of the PBI fiber in the world. It is the most thermally stable fiber in the world. So it's used for in the manufacturing of different outer shells. And all the outer shells made with PBI are the most fire resistant and offer the biggest break open protection.
Okay, so this is the outer shell.
Yep.
I've talked to a lot of people who talk about the thermal barriers on the inside, the moisture barriers. You're the ones that are making the outside of the coat.
Well, so outer fiber is used mostly in outer shell, but also in some thermal liners and moisture barriers and gloves and hoods. But most of our business is in the outer shell.
That's awesome. Now, is this something that you guys invented yourself? Is it something that you guys, were able to manufacture? Like, how does that work? This is kind of curious to me because I've never, really thought about how the jackets are broken down or the gear is broken down.
It is proprietary. It is made in our plant in Rock Hill, South Carolina. It is a very extensive process. It's more than 60 steps.
Wow.
And it starts from, chemistry, molecules, and then it ends up being in an outer shell.
That's awesome. Thank you for doing that stuff. Is this your first time at the Fiero Symposium?
It's not. No, it's actually, I've been in this industry for 18 years, but from the first time that Fiero was launched, we've been here. It's the best event in the fire service.
That's awesome to hear. So thank you for coming. We really appreciate you. And what you guys are doing is saving our lives.
Thank you.
So we appreciate it.
Thank you.
We have to develop better materials, better processes. The training comes in. If we have to use what we have today, you have to train differently. You may not be able to do the job exactly the same way, whatever job that is, whether it's occupational protective clothing, whether it's hazmat suits, surgical gowns, firefighter clothing, whatever it is. Certain medical devices use these, or were there replacements there? And so just remember that this is not a reason for us not to move away from these, but just a framework to understand how do we move away.
couple years ago, my chief came to me and said, hey, are we getting the best bang for our buck? And I said, honestly, I don't think so. He said, well, I want something better. What can we do? Well, I said, for starters, let's get away from the group that we're buying with, because we were part of a big consortium. I said, we can do our own thing. He said, okay, I want a Fayetteville spec, and I want to get the best product for the money that we have. Here's your parameters. We did a 1-year wear trial. You may do something different. I recommend 1 year. I like 1 year. It gives you 4 seasons to try your gear in.
Because everything you carry will add to the load. We talked yesterday, there was a great presentation about SCBA and weight and effects on balance and gear and biomechanical load. Everything you carry with you will impede all that as well.
We hope that you'll join us next year. This conference used to be every 2 years. We're starting a cycle of every year starting next year. On the 17th of March is the pre-conference for 4 days. Please come. Please bring someone with you. Please send a proposal to do a program next year. We'd love to hear from advances in the science and also experiences of firefighters.
Wow, what a great week at the Fiora Symposium. I've learned a whole lot, and hopefully you have too. As you think of fire protection for firefighter gear, you think of safety inside of a fire, but there is so much more that we've just learned. There are so many researchers and manufacturers working so hard to protect firefighters from cancerous and hazardous material. More than ever, Fiora is working to educate fire stations around the globe and give researchers a platform to share their important studies. I want to thank Fiora for inviting us out to cover this event. There is only so much information I can give you on this little video. You should really take the time, invest, and come down to the symposium. As always, Heroes Next Door is traveling from station to station around the world, but in order for us to do that, you guys have to subscribe. So do that right now, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you again next week.